Hello and welcome to Reading the Pattern. Today's video is going to be something a little bit different. I am participating in a Wheel of Time book tag called the Accepted Test. And this is started by Riddhima, who is a relatively new booktuber. And she does have some Wheel of Time content, which I highly recommend you check out. Includes videos on gender in the Wheel of Time, and she's got other content as well. For today, I am going through the 10 questions that she put out to other content creators. And at the end, I'll tag some other content creators. But if you are someone who makes Wheel of Time content and you haven't been tagged, definitely feel free to participate and keep this going. It should be fun. So parts of this video will include spoilers for the Wheel of Time, and when that is relevant, I will put up a spoiler warning on the screen and give you the timestamp to skip ahead to for spoiler-free content if you need to avoid spoilers. I will touch on some other books and series, and for those, I will avoid going into any spoilers. Now, let's get to the accepted test. So how did I first hear about the Wheel of Time and what made me want to read it? I started reading the Wheel of Time in 2007, shortly after Robert Jordan died, which is a strange time to begin picking up the series. But the reason was my husband had been a longtime fan of the Wheel of Time. And even though I'd seen him reading the books, he'd never really talked to me about them. But when Robert Jordan died, I saw how much that impacted him and how much the series meant to him. And to me, that was what made me want to read the series, was knowing how important it was to him and what could be in this series that would make it so compelling. And I was totally hooked once I got into it. Even, I think, not knowing for sure that it was going to be finished yet, although there was definitely a possibility. And just tearing through the series and then waiting for the next books by Brandon Sanderson to come out. Which Ajah would I choose? A little bit of a tough question because I feel that there are parts of me that might belong in blue or gray, but ultimately the answer is yellow. And the reason is this quote. Being a yellow is not about skill, it's about passion. If you love to make things well, to fix that which is broken, there would be a purpose for you here. That resonates with me. Now, that's the ideal of yellow that I believe in. The actual yellow in the Third Age, it does not live up to its potential. Basically, Nynaeve puts the rest of the entire Ajah to shame. But I like to think that once she's there, she's going to elevate it. She's going to bring it to its full potential. So what is the best Nynaeve moment? How do you even choose? There's so many. But for me, one of the things I love most about Nynaeve is that she doesn't just accept being told you can't do something. She's like, no. If I think something should be healed, I'm going to figure out a way to do it, and I will not give up. So the two moments that stand out there are when she heals Logain, and then later in the series when she heals Taint Madness. I'm giving the edge to healing Logain just because she's just kind of messing around with it because she just can't give up. And she doesn't even realize what she's doing, and she does it. It's just beautiful. So what sorts of ajahs could there be in the Black Tower? My little theory on ajahs and how they came about is they're so sort of random that I don't think anyone just sat down and went, okay, let's plan this out. Which ajahs do we need to cover everything? I don't think it happened that way. I think it was more like you'd have a really powerful, influential, charismatic person who wanted to go in a certain direction, and then other people ended up just following them. So using that logic, I'm thinking about how we have Andral as an influential Asha'man in the Black Tower, and his specialty is gateways and traveling. So I could see an Ajah developing around that. Traveling focus, but also what else can we do with gateways? a character that I love but that would hate to meet in real life. It's tough because if I love a character, even if they're like obnoxious at times or would be really tough to be around, I probably still want to meet them. Now, I could probably pick almost any character from A Song of Ice and Fire because I love some of them, but they're all horrible. Anyway, but for Wheel of Time, I can say Moghedien. I enjoy her as a villain for her craftiness and her will to survive, but I definitely don't want to meet the spider. No. A character from another series who would make a good warder. For me, that would be Helene Aquila from An Ember in the Ashes series. No spoilers, but I think the training that she undergoes to become a mask would be very applicable to being a warder, plus her personality. She has dedication. This question's basically impossible. What scene from the books of The Wheel of Time am I most looking forward to seeing in the TV show? Like, how do you pick just one? I was trying to think of what scene might really come across in a completely different way on screen, what might even be like elevated by seeing it in a visual sense. I did think of cleansing the taint. I think that could be really interesting to see how that's visualized. But also I have to shout out, in the first book, so likely in the first season, they're traveling through the ways, because how are you going to visualize that? How are you going to get the look and the feel of the ways across? But also, I just love the character interactions in that sequence. Favorite and least favorite book covers for The Wheel of Time. This is a can of worms and also really hard to choose because there's a lot. Now, there are things I do really, really enjoy about the OG covers, but none of them are my favorites, let's be honest. And usually there's something I like about one of the elements on the cover. And there are a couple where I can't find anything I like about it, or there's something so unforgivable that I can't get past it. So I narrowed it down to 2. Perrin, it's unforgivable. And then Aviendha, really? Probably even more unforgivable. I can't. As for favorites, I really enjoy all of the covers that were originally for the ebooks. For some reason, this one from New Spring stands out to me. I think this moment that they chose is just such a great one. And since it's a prequel, it doesn't matter that it's spoilery. I also love how evocative this one is for Crossroads of Twilight and the almost black and white image. If you hadn't read the book yet, you wouldn't know exactly what this moment was referring to, but it is a really important one for Perrin. And then, even though it's a mystery, there's still so much emotion that comes through. A location I would want to visit in The Wheel of Time. I think the one that stands out to me the most, because it would be unlike anything else, is a steading. Assuming I'm not a channeler. Just getting to experience the feeling of peace that is supposed to come over you in a steading. I want that. If I could make a ter'angreal, what would it be and what would it look like? Easy. Traveling ter'angreal. If traveling exists, that's the dopest thing ever. And you should not just be an Aes Sedai or an Ashaman or have access to one to be able to travel. Everyone should be able to do it. So I am all about that. I don't even really care what it looks like. I just want to have it. The interesting thing about what a ter'angreal looks like, though, is that sometimes the form and shape of it matters for the function, so that's kind of cool. But leaving that aside, I don't know. It could look like a doorway, but I want it. Another book or series Wheel of Time fans might like. Hard question to answer in a way because, nothing is exactly the Wheel of Time, and how close are we talking here? But one does stand out, though you've probably already heard of it. Brandon Sanderson's The Stormlight Archive. This is the first book right here, The Way of Kings. It's another huge, epic, in-depth world-building fantasy series with some fantastic characters. The only caveat here really is that the series is not finished. The 4th book of 10 comes out this fall. And it's probably going to be a long time before the series is complete, even with how prolific Brandon Sanderson is. But if that doesn't turn you off, you definitely should be checking out this series. Now, don't forget to check out Riddhima, who has tagged a lot of content creators for this Wheel of Time book tag. And then I'm also tagging 2 other YouTubers, Geeky Airy and The Badger Reborn. And I know they both want to participate. They have YouTube channels with a lot of content for the upcoming Wheel of Time TV show. Geeky Airy does extensive research on what's going on in production, and so her videos are very unique. You definitely want to check out all of these channels. Links for all of them in the description, and I'll see you next time.